Hey, you guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven, accompanied by Queen Taylor, and we're just a bunch of dirty Americans that are here to check out the top 10 British bands who never cracked it in America. America! Bam, bam! I don't know why this is at all important, but we have been checking out. We have been checking out a lot of stuff from Britain lately. Chinchilla, Wren, we've been getting into a lot of like British artists. James Blunt. So that's why I kind of wanted to check this video out, because I'm curious as to who are these 10 bands? Because the British, I mean, the UK is cracking out some bangers, you guys. Let's be honest. So let's hop on over this video and let's find out. We gonna learn today, boys.
Sorry, I just have to tell you, when you said America, I instantly thought of Wayne's World, party on. Party time, excellent.
Wayne's World.
Okay. Oh.
These musical groups found fame in the UK, but they remained relatively obscure in the US. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 British bands who never cracked America. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're focusing on bands that never experienced continuous commercial success in America.
Girls around.
Number 10, Supergrass.
Oh, I know the song.
I've heard of this song. Come on, guys.
For a British band to successfully cross over into America, it's crucial to capitalise upon the buzz. And for Oxford group Supergrass, well, they failed to expand beyond their native demographic. With their 1995 debut album I Should Coco, Supergrass briefly reached the #1 in the UK charts, and actually released 2 more albums by the end of the 90s. By that time though, music trends had changed significantly in the US, and well, Supergrass began to drift away, barely cracking the US top 200 with 2002's Life on Other Planets. Sadly, it all ended with an internal Twitter beef. Number 9, Madness. During the late 70s and early 80s, this band was far more than just a one-hit wonder in the UK. In fact, Madness would even influence the American band that would ultimately become No Doubt.
Oh, wow.
Guys, these are iconic songs that we've heard in America. Our House?
Yeah, but only the first song from the last band, and this one.
Yeah.
I think it's more like they seem like one-hit wonders to Americans. Like they're more popular as a band. Like
the song is more popular than the band?
No. Well, like one particular song is like, that's why I said like one-hit wonder, like one-hit wonder here. Like one song is popular, but then like the rest of the band's music didn't really ever go anywhere. As it did like over there.
I also think it's probably like way harder back even in the 90s because of the internet and stuff like that. Like how are you getting that music across? It would literally be like CDs coming to a DJ and the DJ deciding whether or not they were going to play it.
Well,
like
and it's hard because like he was talking about, you know, like trends and stuff changed in America. That's the thing, is like trends are so different here than they are like across the ocean. You know, something that's really popular here gets really popular, say in Ireland, like 8 months later, just for example. Like, I don't know the statistics to that, but it's just not always the same.
It happens like that even here in America, where like something will be popping off in Miami and then that trend will die in Miami, but then become really big in the West.
Yeah.
Right. We actually, bell bottoms were a thing. It was like, when you started seeing girls wearing bell bottoms going to Florida, and they were like, what are you doing? That's gross. It's like, what? It's the trend. I digress.
Yeah, it's crazy everywhere.
And like Gwen Stefani's versatile group, Madness didn't align themselves with a specific genre, as they blended together a variety of musical styles. With that being said, Madness was, in fact, linked to skinheads in their early days, which perhaps negatively affected larger-scale opportunities.
Yeah.
Regardless, the UK band experienced great success during their initial 10-year run, but never once did one of
The
their
Green
acclaimed
Street
albums crack the
Hooligans.
US Top 100 charts. But Take That had already begun to self-destruct. In their prime, Gary Barlow stunned critics with his songwriting skills, and a young Robbie Williams displayed his obvious star power. And so, Take
Oh,
That
I've heard
seemed
this
prime
song.
for America. Yet Williams
one
quit
playing
and
right-
unite with Williams in 2010.
Wash your mouth, son, or you'll find yourself floating home.
Number 7, Kasabian.
I don't recognize any of the band names.
American indie fans have certainly heard of this group from Leicester, despite the fact that Kasabian's lead singer Sergio Pizzorno once noted that he hates indie bands. So that's one thing to consider when thinking about Kasabian's failed American crossover.
No.
In the
No,
UK,
for me
they
either, and I
reached number
listened to
4 on the UK
quite a bit of
charts with
indie
their
music.
self-titled 2004 debut, and the next several albums managed to reach number 1.
This is familiar.
Number 6, Happy Mondays.
Do you think that they're playing like what would typically, or what songs were actually aired in America just to like hook us?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, well, because it's like who never cracked America. So I think they're playing the songs that like
Got
were
in.
popular in America. Yeah. And that Americans would recognize, which obviously is not the case for everyone or for every song, but I definitely think that's what's happening.
It is very curious though. Like, why is America so important that this video needs to exist? Like, who cares if these bands never crack? Like, they're number one in the, the UK.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I guess making it in America like is making it big.
Is it making it big to be in America? I don't know. I'm an American, so I'm spoiled. I get it all, right? Spice Girls. You know what I mean? Banging. But like, what?
I mean, think about the size of a lot of these countries.
So we're about 350 million people in America, right? I don't know what the UK or that part of the world is like, but I would still. Is it a money thing?
I don't know.
Like, does being number one in the UK mean like you're a millionaire, but like being number one in America is like you're a billionaire?
That's a good
I don't
question.
know. Good question.
Why
Guys,
do you want to make it in America?
is that like a goal? Like, the thing that struck me very, and I don't want to sound ignorant, it was like, it says wasn't ready for a committed American crossover. So you had to like, as a band, come together and be like, let's do an American crossover. Like, let's stop doing what we're doing and like have a committed, like, let's change our shit up to make it sound better for Americans. Like, come on, you guys. That's cringe.
Now this Mojoholics is what you call a Manchester band. From 1980 to 1993, Happy Mondays managed to gain quite the following in the UK, certainly with their 1990 album Pills and Thrills and Bellyaches.
I love this song.
But considering that a band like New Kids on the Block was big in the United States at the time, well, that's just one reason why the Happy Mondays sound failed to connect with the
Wasn't that
American
with Mark
mainstream.
Wahlberg?
Even
Or the
so, this is a
Wahlbergs?
band that
Yeah,
heavily influenced
Donnie.
some of the more notable UK bands of the 90s, such as Oasis and the Stone Roses. Yet their sound embodies more of a distinct Euro vibe rather than trendy American hooks. Number 5, Stereophonics.
Ooh, what a cool voice.
Yeah, this is good.
From the late 90s to the early 2000s, this
I like
Welsh
that.
band established a reputation for their killer live shows. However, Stereophonics ultimately dismissed original drummer Stuart Cable in 2003, reportedly because he was more interested in his TV show than the band. Sadly, Cable would pass away just 7 years later. In their prime, Stereophonics was known as one of the most talented UK bands, releasing 5 number 1 albums throughout the 2000s.
Wow.
Yet only one of those, 2001's Just Enough Education to Perform, managed to crack the US top 200 charts.
So maybe tomorrow I find
That is
my way.
such a cool voice.
We might be finding bands right now.
Despite
Shannon.
the lack of
Yeah.
American buzz, Stereophonics continues in their native Wales as one of
You
the
got
most
me.
highly regarded UK bands of the 21st century.
I think I've heard of this.
Number 4,
Ooh, I
Manic
like
Street
them.
Preachers. Like many overly ambitious rock bands, this Wales group infamously hyped up their 1992 debut album, Generation Terrorists, and,
Oh.
well, failed to crack the top 10 in the UK charts.
That's a 180 from what we just heard.
Yeah, it is.
In fact, the Manics wouldn't land a number 1 until 6 years later, this coming 3 years after the mysterious disappearance of the celebrated songwriter and guitarist Richie Edwards.
Oh no.
Their music is pure rock, something that US rock enthusiasts could easily get behind, or so it would seem.
Well, yeah, that first song I was like, yeah. And then the
that's
second one
cool.
I was like,
But
what?
while the Manics became iconic figures overseas, their sound just never translated to American mainstream consumers. Decades after the loss of Edwards, however, the Manics continue to wail. Number 3, Pulp.
What happened to him?
This sounds good too.
By the time of this band's success during the mid-90s Britpop era, they had already been together well over 15 years. And until then, Pulp had never actually landed a gold record, let alone an American hit. But albums like Different
Love
Class and This Is Hardcore teased at a potential American crossover, with the latter finding its way to the US charts in 1996. At this time though, reported drug use and internal scuffling shook up the band, and Pulp's final album
That'll
was
do it.
ultimately released in the early fall of 2001, peaking at number 6 in the UK charts. For a brief time, this group was on par with the likes of Oasis, but like the Gallaghers,
Wow.
Pulp just couldn't manage to keep
They
the unit
keep
together.
referring to Oasis too.
He gives me like young
Number 2,
David
The
Bowie
Jam.
vibes.
Yeah.
Fronted by the multi-talented Paul Weller, a man known for his distinct British compositions, this band came, saw and conquered during their decade-long existence. Well, at least in the UK.
I first felt a fist and then a kick. I could now smell their breath.
Aesthetically, the Jam preceded punk,
Oh,
and
that's
they called
sick.
it quits just as the new wave took off in the early 80s. In between, they released 6 acclaimed studio albums, with the last 5 climbing the UK charts. Truth be told, the Jam had somewhat of a steady presence in the US charts during their run, but despite their stylized look and obvious talent, the party ended with the 1982 release, The Gift. And just like that, the Jam was gone before Americans could catch on. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
So before we get into the honorable mentions, I will say, as the video kind of got down into the like top 5, top 3, I started losing the recognition.
Same.
I
I was gonna
start-
say the same thing.
It became less and less like,
Yeah.
"Huh, that's
The
not
first like
familiar."
4, maybe 5, I was like, I recognized a song,
Yeah.
maybe 2 songs, but then yeah, it was like the last few. I'm like, nope, nothing.
But it's funny what they were talking about the Jam, because right around 82 is really when Judas Priest and, like, in America at least, metal started getting more prevalent, and like that's when we started seeing the branching of like I really think the Jam would have thrived if they just got to like 88. And then in the 90s, grunge music with Nirvana started picking up.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where Vince Neil, I don't know if you guys know this, Vince Neil left Motley Crue because he their record label was like, hey, we're going to push the band into this more grunge style. And he was like, no. And guess what? Motley
No.
Crue tried to pursue without Vince, and it sucked. And they died as a band. That's what happened to Motley Crue, you guys. FYI.
Here's a little history lesson.
Just a little MTV history lesson for you. But all right, let's go. Honorable mentions.
You spend the evening unpacking books from boxes. You pass me up so as not to break a promise. Meet me on the mad parade when the midnight bells are chiming.
Number 1, The Stone Roses. If you're even vaguely familiar with the bravado and attitude of Oasis, well, let's just say the Gallagher brothers were inspired by the Stone Roses. This is a band that once said America doesn't deserve us yet, and while they may have been right, the Stone Roses didn't seem in a hurry to record consistent music after the renowned 1989 debut.
Let me put you in the picture, let me show you what I mean.
Look at all these chicken costumes.
Sister, ain't no king, man, she's my
In fact, it took a full 5 years for the Manchester group to drop a second album, and the band folded for good less of 2 years later. Since then, there has always been talks of a reunion, but it just never seems to happen. And so the Stone Roses will forever remain an acclaimed British rock band that failed to live up to their crossover potential.
I mean, it sounds great.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo UK and subscribe for new videos every day.
Huh, interesting. I don't know if I agree with their picks because I don't have any references.
Yeah, I don't know who else is out there.
I know of a shit ton of American metal bands, so I'm like a metal guy, you guys. So Jerome, very underrated. They only did like one album, and then the band broke up, went to Oceano, and they formed Monsters, and Monsters was really good. But I digress because that's a metal band. And they were never on any charts. But my point is, I have no reference, and I couldn't tell you guys.
I think it's interesting to see some bands and artists and music just in particular that was popular somewhere else and why it wouldn't be popular here. I don't know if it's just like the whole trend thing or what, because a lot of that I'm like, I feel like everybody that I know would listen to that like in that time period, if that makes sense. I'm having a hard time trying to articulate what I'm trying to say, but
what I think when I listen to the top 10, right, and even the honorable mentions, there was a trendiness to, like, there was a trend setting where I felt as though the style and the genre, and that could have just been Watch Mojo's like choice of songs that they were appearing, but they all kind of started to sound a little bit like the same kind of style, the same kind of like, they were all rock bands. They were all very melodic. They were all, that, I don't want to say grungy, but, reverb guitars. And like, there wasn't anything that was like pop out, stand out. You know what I mean?
There's a big similarity in a lot of them. I also think a lot of them were very closely in the same time period.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a difference. But
yeah,
I definitely recognized a few of the songs. More so starting out at the beginning of the video. I didn't recognize anything in the second half of the video. I didn't recognize a single band name or song name.
Yeah.
That's not too uncommon though for me, but
I will say there were some songs I recognized, and putting a face and name to those bands makes me wonder, makes me like encouraged to go check it out more after this video. There was also one that I really liked that I was like, damn, I could listen to this today. And it was that one band that you were like, ooh.
Yeah, I want to check out
Stereophonics.
more of their stuff. Stereophonics, I think.
Stereophonics? I was like, shit, that's good.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, I kind of want to listen to
that
more.
That's something like just the tone of the guy's voice, the style of music that they were playing. I was like, I could listen to that right now today. Like, that's my jam.
Definitely my type of vibe.
Absolutely. So anyways, you guys, that was the top 10 British bands who never cracked America. This is coming from Watch Mojo UK. I love Watch Mojo videos. They're just wildly addictive. I can binge watch the shit out of these guys. So let us know down in the comments what you thought. Let us know if, like, give me a sense. Give me like a real vibe of like how big these bands actually were in the UK. Like, your mom listens to them. You know what I mean? Like, hey, my mom listened to Metallica.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyways, that's our time, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.